How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to the Enclave. So in today's video, it's going to be a little bit of a shorter one. I'm going to be giving you guys the reasonings behind me doing a 2-cycle wash on my brass. So basically why I wash it, deprime it, and then wash it again. So without any further ado, let's get into the intro and then into the video. Okay, so we are back. As I stated in the beginning, this is going to be a little bit of a shorter intro, shorter video. I do apologize if you hear me coughing or anything like that. I'm still trying to get over the Fast and Furious disease. So yeah, basically, why do I wash my brass twice? So when I started reloading and washing brass, obviously, I began with a single long cycle. So somewhere around an hour to an hour and a half with a water change in between. But then when I took the brass to the actual press for reloading, I found that there were quite a few primers that weren't playing nice. So either we would bend the depriming rod, or you would just have to put a large amount of pressure into just popping out that primer. And what I noticed after switching to the 2-wash system is that instead of having a really dirty primer pocket, kind of like this one, I'm sure no one will be able to see that, but it is what it is, you end up with a beautiful clean primer pocket like this one, which again I don't think anyone will be able to see. But the main difference that gives you is cleaner inserting of primers. Sometimes those things can be a little sticky, and not to say that it'll set a primer off or anything like that. I don't really think it creates that much resistance, but I have noticed that on some of the more forceful primer insertions, you actually get a slight sort of half moon indent on the primer. And I haven't, like I said, noticed any problems with that going off or damaging the primer or even having misfires with the live round that creates. But I have noticed that actually seating the primer, you can cause a small deformation to the primer itself with that extra sort of resistance in the primer pocket. So that is one of the benefits. Also, like I mentioned, the depriming, they just pop right out. You don't have to put any real force into it. It doesn't jam up the machine. I have noticed with certain bulged cases, it slows your whole operation down because you have to apply a lot more force. It's a lot more deliberate of an action on the press, whereas when everything's flowing flawlessly and seamlessly, you're literally just cranking the handle. It's very minimal effort, very minimal intention behind your movements, if that makes sense. Whereas when you're having more friction on the priming cycle, more friction on the depriming cycle, all those things sort of slow down your performance of the press. So yeah, that is pretty much the two major reasons that I like to split up my washing process. Number 1, easier priming. Number 2, easier depriming. I also find that the brass ends up cleaner. So yeah, there is that benefit as well, that you end up stripping away a lot of that main dirt, the main residue buildup, things like that. And then you end up doing almost like a polishing cycle or a buffing cycle on the second run. Honestly, I think if you were to do an initial run of wet and then you were to go and deprime and run them through the dry, like sort of polishing buffing system, that would actually be quite a nice way to go. I personally don't have a dry tumbler at this point. For me, the cons sort of outweighed the pros of using that method, but we'll get into that in a future video. But yeah, as always, I hope you've enjoyed this slightly shorter video. And yeah, if you got more time, please check out another video here on the side. And as always, peace out.